So we're all here for a destroy or die install on an NC MX-5 or an RX-8, and I'd have to say I'm pretty excited. It was a little difficult. There are some things. I learned that I have some longer bolts on one wheel bearing side, which made it easier, and shorter on the other, which made it really complicated. But the upgraded bushings make it a little tight on install and tolerances, but those are things we're gonna learn about from this point forward. Enjoy the video. Hopefully this helps. I got my new car parts in the mail. I ordered destroy or die angle kit for MX-5. I've already gotten a bunch of stuff out of the boxes. There's a couple things left. They did a really good job packaging it. Got the upper control arm here, and the rest of the kit is already up here on the workbench. Lower control arm is the big thing. When I say big, I mean main component to go with the Knuckle here, because it actually uses a MK1 or MK2 as they would call it, the first generation suspension design. They use that ball joint on this third generation front end, so that's what makes this really special right here. Bushings complete the kit, as well as inner tie rod ends. You need the longer tie rod end to be able to do the max width with the adjustable upper and lower ball joints. It doesn't come with everything. They say that, one of them being ball joint and hardware for ball joint. This is like M12 hardware right here, but yeah, you can pick what you want. I'm doing lock washers, lock nuts. The reason why we have this already off the car, showing we don't have sway bar, it's probably going to be in the way. So no sway bar attachment, but built in nice metal spherical on the shock mount. You have to order bushings separately right here for the uppers and the lowers, and we pressed in this one, but the other bushings can do by hand. Seems like there's some geometry changes and definitely a lot of adjustability. Excited to put it on the car. So if you have any questions about the kit that I haven't noticed, feel free to ask in the comments. Done installing the bushings. Have everything laid out here. Do my best to walk you through putting it all back together on the car. It's like the bushings went in. All right, getting the sizing correct. Boom, look at that. They knew what they were doing. Oh, got a bracket in the way. We're gonna have to modify that soon. Wow, clearance. I was worried about this. I really was thinking about that. The factory aren't, well, I guess this is gonna be dictated off of our lower. But okay, upper control arm on, now lower. So still using the factory hardware. Yes, fits, same. But different bushings is gonna make this interesting. Can I unbolt this and make room? I'm gonna try it. It's embarrassing. We're not doing it that way. Shock might be in the way. This is shocking. Persuasion? I was like, what? That was too easy. This is seems a little too... Thank you for tuning back in. I have taken this bolt out. I was struggling back here. This bolt was already in. Yada, yada, yada. Bolt out. Gonna, yeah, take it out. Get it where I need it. Put it from the top how I want it. Then back to the front. Perfect. There you go. Lower arm on. It fits. It's good. Definitely wants hardware right there. Where is... Ooh, sharp. Oh, bugger. Anything good? Back to the drawing board. This bolt, back out. Okay, now this one's gonna be interesting. We'll see. Wow, aggressive. Yay! Lower arm in. Easy peasy. Okay, it's pretty tight with all these bushings, so maybe a second hand or using the old leg muscles. Can move the shock mount into position. Pretty close. We're gonna use that handy dandy pry bar. Just kidding. But right there. Ooh, the back is. Okay, we're gonna take it. And this might do something.
There you go. There you go.
We just scraped that bolt. Okay, nut and mission accomplished. Not difficult at all. Some would disagree. And clip. All right, upper control arm, lower control arm, shock, ball joint. Going to shim this up so we don't crush it in case we want to make a change. I've got a stack of washers and lock washers. Keep everything together, and we're actually going to flip this bolt around this way. Oh, washer first. Big old nut. Oh, got our lock washer and big washer. Just trying to protect our nice investment. Definitely not gonna hurt these parts because they're so nice. Here we go. Need a 19. Got a couple, and then a 21. Snug. Moving on to knuckle after ball joint. So if you haven't noticed, we have a larger taper on the bottom, smaller on the top. Set that in there. I'm using the OEM nut because it's going to actually tighten up a little easier than the nylock one that came with the ball joint kit. This one does. It's got to be the one. Yep, got it. Alright, here comes the hard part. We're just gonna keep rolling into the wheel bearing. So this is a very snug fit. We need to grease our bolts. Some grease on some bolts. You know what? We're gonna do it right here too. Because this is a tight fit with the powder coat. I'll tell you what. See what this one will do. So it might look like I'm sitting here in the same spot and all of a sudden the wheel bearing's on, but this is the third evening on getting the angle kit on the car. Last night stopped on this because I thought filing the powder coat would get this thing in here, but it took a lot more effort than that. So wheel bearings in. The secret to that was taking these 4 spacers. They're just tack welded on. I busted them off with whatever you want to use as a punch and a hammer, and then the bolts all threaded in. That was the big problem, is I could thread 3 bolts in but not all 4, and it started to get really frustrating. So instead of grinding and drilling, busted big spacers, 4 bolts threaded in, guided wheel bearing in, and then backed off each one by one, put the spacers back on and tightened it up. So now we're gonna put the brake caliper on and brake rotor. The main thing we want is washers. Couldn't find shorter bolts at the shop, so we're doing some washers. I only need 2. Let's see if this is the stack. think that's it. 3's the ticket. 1, 2, 3. Let me see that light. Thanks. Maybe I could take one out. Let's try it down here. Probably still gonna want that 3rd. It's like there, but 3. I'm gonna get this last washer on and we're good. Wheel speed sensor. I have this bracket bunching things up. I'm going to keep my wheel speed sensors, so I'm gonna make them longer. This one looks a little more difficult right here. Which way is it on this one? You know what? I'm probably just gonna leave that one like that. Leaving it.
Why are you making these longer?
Because of the extended width that we have here. Steering angle and getting awesome. You know, I can't account for how much awesome we're gonna get right in this moment. But I know we're gonna get awesome pretty soon here. And voila, we have extra room. Probably gonna zip tie that to that and should be good. So we're gonna reuse the outer tie rod end. So a couple steps you want to do beforehand: breaking this this jam nut loose. You also have something retaining your boot back here and a clip. Once those are undone, just slide that out of the way. What we're after is that inner tie rod end ball joint. So we're gonna want to retain our bellow, set that aside, and then tie rod end pretty exposed. You can go about this a couple ways. I've chosen to ruin the washer. I've put enough force on it to break the tabs off on the inside. I'll probably show you here in a second. So hold tie rod end off. This is a washer. I gave it enough force that these tabs have disappeared. The tabs are gone, but Loctite is something that's used. We are gonna do the same thing with our new inner. Skipping the washer. The other side was just completely floating. I know it wasn't even doing anything, so gotta be patient with the new hardware. Something you don't want to strip out. There we go. I'm gonna end up tightening this up, but something you don't want to forget: putting your bellow on with your new jam nut. Oh, almost forgot it. And it doesn't grab for some reason, but then your jam nut, and finish that up here. A little bit of grease, because we live in Utah, and you never know when you're gonna store your race car outside. Some big turns before we bolt it up. We're gonna just shoot for that, I think. And another scene of me using tools improperly. Diagonal cutters on the boot that doesn't hug. And the final connection and the nut. And if you got a zippy dippy, done. Don't let that term get on the internet. Zippy dippy, jeez. On this motion, we got a ways to go. I wasn't even close with my pre-spin. Just some basics. Put the camber at 4 degrees, caster at 7, and toe is just barely toe out. I'll check back in tomorrow at the racetrack, and we'll look at some tire wear and some marks on the tires and talk more about the angle kit and where we need to make some improvements or some changes. That'll be it for this video. I'll catch you out at the track on another one. Have a great day. Good luck on your project.